The following episode was recorded live at a kink festival. Imagine wandering through a crowded kink event and catching the faint sound of someone baring their soul just beyond a velvet curtain. That's what this episode invites you into. This is the Erotic Realm Confessional, the world's first live anonymous kink confessional booth, set up inside a real kink festival. Over one unforgettable day, strangers stepped inside, unseen, and whispered their rawest truths into a microphone. You'll hear them exactly as they were recorded, unfiltered, anonymous, and surrounded by the soft hum of kink in motion. You'll hear music, you'll hear conversations, you'll hear people having a kinky time in the background, but mostly, you'll hear what it's like to confess your desires with no one watching and everyone listening. If you don't usually wear headphones, you might want to for this one. It's like leaning in to overhear something you were never meant to hear. The Erotic Realm Confessional is proudly sponsored by Adult Bliss, Adelaide's ultimate destination for kink and sexual wellness. Just a 10-minute drive from the CBD, Adult Bliss has proudly supported the kink scene for years, offering the best selection of gear, including unique, locally made treasures you won't find anywhere else. Whether you're exploring new fantasies or looking to deepen your sexual wellness journey, they've got you covered. Visit adultbliss.au and use the code EroticRealm25 for a cheeky discount of 15% off and a free gift. And I personally like to thank Adult Bliss for being such an amazing sponsor and helping the Erotic Realm Confessional come to life. And now, back to the show. Welcome to the Erotic Realm Confessional, where you confess your desires. Enjoy. So welcome back to the Erotic Realm Confessional. I have another person here that would like to confess. What is your name, please?
My name is Rania.
Okay, Rania. So who are you in terms of your sexuality and eroticism?
Well, I'd like to believe that still exploring, even though kink and fetish have been a big part of my world since I was 16. But I personally feel that, you know, the more you explore, the more you experience, you sort of have a better idea of where and what fits. So I'd like to say still exploring, even though it's been decades.
That's amazing. There's always more to explore. So what labels best describe your kinky self today in this moment?
So Ms. Rania. Is that yes?
Okay. So are you a dominant?
I'm a top, a service top. I do enjoy many elements of that. I have definitely seen some clients professionally, but still under the title of Ms. Sort of corporal punishment is one of my big things. In when I say in public space, in private space, then that's a whole different story.
Okay, so there's a few things I'd love to ask you about based on that answer. You mentioned being a top, not necessarily a dominant. Can you explain why you choose the label top as opposed to dominant?
So top to me resonates very much with who I am naturally. So, you know, considering all the title mistress or dominant, it sort of doesn't really cover who I am in its entirety. It's sort of, to me, those two titles, although I've sat with them over the course of my journey many times over, the terms don't resonate with me at all. And I'm very much an energetic person. Spent decades within my spiritual community, etc. So things have to vibrate in a way that feels right. So Ms. just seemed to sort of tick that box, and top sort of very much in regards to service top in all areas of my life, including my public spiritual work as well as private world.
Okay, amazing. Now let's chat corporal punishment. You mentioned that was one of your biggest kinks that you enjoy.
Yes.
What do you mean by corporal punishment, and can you tell us what that looks like for you?
Okay, so I guess for me, corporal punishment, and in my experiences and through my lens, It's very much hard impact play. So I'm quite, I'm quite a fan of the cane, particularly for bottoms that are very much into cold caning. That's where I've sort of learned my skills right from the start. Um, so the warm-ups are almost not really necessary for certain individuals, and I do enjoy the fact that I can get straight into it after the negotiations, and checking and making sure that both our boxes are ticked. I find topping, or even the term top, for me it's an absolute privilege to be able to have an individual, whether it be at a public event, who has approached me and asked if I would be, interested in doing a scene with them. To me, it's a privilege that someone trusts me with not only their body, so their flesh, but also their mind. Not only their mind, but soul, spirit, because regardless of what role, we have the capacity to enhance someone's experience. We have a capacity to leave them curious and wanting more. We also have a capacity to totally destroy that for them where they just retreat. So to me, it's, I guess it's the power, I don't like the term power for me, but it's the privilege of an individual saying, you know what, Ms. Rania, I would really love to have this experience with you. And I do look at it as very much a privilege. Dominant, it's almost the term, and I have so many amazing humans in my world who resonate really well with certain terms or terminology. And it's always, of course, with respect, but for me, yeah, very much, I see it very differently for myself.
Beautiful, so deep. So you described that you first explored kink when you were 16, is that right?
I started around 16, yes.
Okay, and have you always been in the top, or did you explore different roles?
No. Okay. In my private relationship, very much a switch. The idea of just totally submitting at certain times. And I'm very, what's the word, spontaneous, so in this moment you might be topping me and in the next I've thrown you down, but that's very much in my personal world. I don't express that side of myself in public, in the public spaces. But so for me, a lot of language came later in life, but my actual in activities, I was exploring wax play, although I didn't realise it was a fetish at 16. I was exploring bondage at 16, light bondage at 16. Again, not realising, for me, sexual intimacy and in its expression is quite intuitive. And so if it felt right in that moment, I would explore it. And as long as, of course, my said partner at the time was open to it. So very curious. I found myself extremely curious in regards to my younger years. And it's only really been since 2016 where I've really embraced more of the, I guess, the mistress role, but without the title, in regards to client sessions or private play with others. In that way, but yes.
So I am nosy, if you don't mind me asking.
No, not at all.
You mentioned that you're a switch at home, and that's something that you don't really play around with in public.
No.
Can I ask the reason for that? Is that just a personal decision?
Personal decision, and for me to surrender self, physically, mentally, and of course spiritually, it's got to be a very unique human. It's not something I give away willy-nilly just for the experience, if that makes sense. I'm very, 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 the connection, there has to be a connection before I would actually surrender those three parts of self to someone, and a great level of trust, so yes.
So would you say that switching is a much more vulnerable role, and that's why it's more private?
Yes.
What's more vulnerable about it? The idea that you're giving control to someone else and you're no longer in control of what's happening? Is that the aspect of it that's vulnerable, or something else?
For me, it's not even the physicality of it. It's the heart. It's my soul. It's how much of that I give. And in order to have a great experience, to me, it's not only a full body, but it's a spiritual experience. And it's not something that thus far, who knows, tomorrow might be a different story, but thus far in my journey and in my exploration, both publicly and privately, I haven't yet resonated with someone instantly where it's like, yes, I'll surrender to you, mind, body, soul. It might happen, but, I don't, so far, no.
So you said you've been exploring for quite a long time. You're still exploring.
Yes.
I'm curious to hear from you. What's a peak erotic experience that you've had during all of these explorations? What comes to mind when I ask that question?
So I'm going to actually say back in 2016, I was invited by a dear mistress friend of mine to Sydney to do a week training with her under the Confessional umbrella. And what I found absolutely so highlights is the way this individual, not only in half an hour, was able to break down the client and enough to know, actually completely know exactly what sort of a session was going to be, what was going to happen for that person. By the time they got out of the shower, we were already in scene. And I found that profound on many levels. And it was the first sort of side of my exploring professionally. That and being also had private lessons with another well-known mistress in caning, and the fact that I'd not ever picked up a cane prior to 2016, and the fact that it just came so natural and with ease and skill set. I'm very much one that believes in past lives, and I think I definitely, was wearing those or that skin, in another life because it came. So I'd not really explored that level of impact play until 2016. There were lots of other areas of kink and fetish that I had, but 2016 would be the highlight. I was in the process of setting up my then business called Spirit Kink, and again, knowledge is power, and knowing what I was talking about, knowing what I was doing on a public side of things was really important for me. So yeah, 2016, having some private tuition by two very experienced mistresses, and the difference in how not only how they facilitate, but also the fact that walked away with so many gems in regards to my own personal story, myself, as well as I guess public or more open play. But yes.
Wonderful. So you mentioned that you had your own business, Spirit Kink.
I did.
Do you still have a kinky business that you're involved in?
So Spirit Kink closed her doors 2 years ago. And the intention of creating Spirit Kink was for a safe space for people to explore both, those that were just exploring, as well as those that, again, lifestylers, etc., etc. It was a way of being able to introduce the spiritual element to our play. As I said, I come from nearly 30 years, without giving my age, of public work within my spiritual community, and sexuality and sexual expression is and was a very big part of that. So I think I've just lost my train now.
Okay. We were talking about if you have a kinky business at the moment.
Thank you. I've been closed for 2 years. My inbox is continuously inundated with emails, and I am currently looking for just the right venue to re-establish.
Amazing. Well, when you do, I would love to invite you to come on the podcast for a full episode and tell us your story and let people know what's happening at Spirit Kink if you're interested.
Wow, thank you. Thank you, Em.
So I'm curious now, we've just talked about what is happening in the future in terms of your business. What about for you personally? What's something kinky that you're looking forward to?
Funny enough, although my body is not in a place at the moment in regards to flexibility, but I have always been curious about being a bunny. And that to me is a big thing in the sense of, again, it's total surrender. And I am working on, my physical body in regards to being able to have an opportunity to explore that further as a bottom, as a bunny, as a rope bunny, and an ass spanking, to be honest with you. I really, I don't spank myself. I use other ways of warm up, but yeah, just to be put over a bloody bench and given a good ass spank, let's say.
Well, it sounds like you have a lot of fun ahead of you, and I look forward to hearing about Spirit Kink when it reopens. I'd like to thank you for being part of the Erotic Realm Confessional today.
Thank you, Em. Thank you very, very much.
I'm told I have a face for podcasts.
Starting off with a joke, I love it.
I try.
So we have another person here for the Erotic Realm Confessional. Who do we have? Who are you?
My name is Avery. I am a partner and sub to Miss Winter, the lovely empress that we
Ooh.
have.
Okay, so you have a partner. Did you say they're submissive? I didn't quite hear you.
My submissive and my I am her mate, essentially.
Ah, okay, cool. How long have you been together for?
We have been together for about a year. In fact, I sometimes like to joke that it was on her birthday that we joined hands in partnership, and rather than, I forgot to give her a birthday present, so I, in a moment of panic, decided to become her girlfriend.
Amazing. And you said you're her maid. What does being her maid mean?
It is primarily a service role. It is ideally taking care of her, cooking meals, cleaning her latex. She does own more latex than actual clothes, which is... I have never been more impressed by a single person in my life.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so if I can ask, getting a bit personal here, it sounds more like it's a purely kink relationship as opposed to sexual. Is that right to say?
Not at all. We have had sexual intercourse, of course. But there is some distinction between our play and our partnership as girlfriends, because this is a conversation we've had a little while ago, that there is something of a divide between the service I enjoy providing. I enjoy driving her, being her chauffeur, cooking her meals, but there is an element of comfort and sexuality that is somewhat divorced from the service role provided. I think another thing that I hold a deep craving for service submission, punishment, all that sort of wonderful rules. It's hard to break rules if you're following them all the time. But wanting to get in trouble but not wanting to break the rules is a constant thing I have to... It's a war I fight within myself.
Okay. So let's chat about service submission, because some people, when they hear that, they think it's someone being taken advantage of. How could someone get enjoyment and rewards out of serving someone in that way and doing tasks for them? Can you tell us a little bit more about what's happening in your mind, your feelings, when you're doing service submission for someone, and why it's enjoyable for you?
The simplest answer I could provide is that it feels nice to do nice things for other people. It is, the golden rule: do unto others as you would do unto yourself. Not to mention, it does feel good to get the pat on the head and be called a good girl every now and again. But I think the thing I most enjoy is seeing the other person smile and give the biggest sigh of relief. Because if I may tell a little bit of a story.
Of course, please.
I was, my partner usually comes over and stays with me after events. And I didn't have the time nor the money to attend that event myself, but I was determined to make a haven for them when they returned. So I cleaned up my entire room, made everything nice and beautiful for them, changed the bed sheets, put on a cassette tape for when they returned, because I think everyone can appreciate the click-clack whir of that old physical media. Handed her a plate of deep dish pizza when she got home,
Lovely.
Made her favorite cup of tea, and when I tell you, the wave of relief and sheer joy on her face when she was able to lie down, take her shoes off, eat some good hearty food. I have never seen more love in a single person's eyes. And that gets me horny. I can't really express how much I really, really crave seeing somebody else happy and content and enjoying their life. Call it a maternal instinct if you must, but I think people do enjoy doing nice things for other people.
Beautifully said. So would you say you've always been kinky? When did you discover kink?
Oh, this is going to sound very weird.
We like weird here.
It could have been two things. I had a particular fascination for slime game shows when I was a kid.
Okay.
I don't know why. It was just people getting covered in goo.
Mm-hmm.
That was appealing to me. Like the slimy, the sticky, the ooey gooey, all that good stuff. And I watched hours of videos on YouTube for that. The second thing was somebody doing a cosplay of Birdo in full latex in a maid dress over that.
Okay.
And it was in one of those videos that was like, oh, here's so many weird subcultures on the internet that's like, oh, isn't this so strange and bizarre and weird? And I was like, yeah, that is strange and bizarre and weird. And why am I so fascinated by this image in particular?
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure this will have absolutely no effect on me growing up. This will be fine. And now I'm kinky, trans, and happier than ever.
Okay, so I'm curious to know, how did you meet your current partner?
Through another partner, I guess. I have been polyamorous for a good few years now. I was with a partner at the time, and it was their birthday, and I saw them kissing a friend of mine, and I sort of nervously shuffled up to them because I was feeling, a bit jealous. And I was like, hey, can I please kiss you? And then we just sort of hit it off. She came to my place, I went to her place. She put me in a vac bed and turned me into a sous vide. It was wonderful.
So it was kinky from the start?
Pretty much, yes.
Okay, so what's something that you're looking forward to experiencing with your partner?
While we do have something of a 24/7 dynamic, I think part of me is very much still, when she leaves, it's almost as if that 24/7, it feels more distant, like it's muted. It's not gone entirely, but there is that sensation of, well, now I can misbehave and she won't know until much later, and that feels a little bit less fun.
Mm-hmm. So are you a bit of a brat as well? Am I picking up on that? Or
I would like to be more of a brat, but I do feel so scared about getting in trouble. I hate disappointing people. Like, part of that is being a people pleaser, but if I could be a brat without genuinely upsetting someone, I absolutely would.
So what do you wish was more understood by your kinks? If someone's listening and they're getting a sense of who you are, what would you like to say to someone that might not understand what being a maid or submissive is like, and being a service submissive in particular?
That's a tough one. I think people are generally starting to get a bit more of a understanding about kink and everything about it in broader popular culture. I've never met somebody who has been like, oh, they're taking advantage of you. Why aren't you standing up for yourself? I think, honestly, I'm not terribly sure. I'd have to think about that.
That's okay. Perhaps there's something you'd like people to understand more about you in general, if they have misconceptions about you or how you come across. Is there anything that you would like to share?
I think despite everything I've been through, despite what people have conceptions about me, I am happier now than I have ever been in my entire life. And I think that's basically what everyone's trying to achieve. If everyone could be happier. Okay, I do have something for this one.
Please.
I think most people are perverts. I think most people are perverts, and people would be happier and healthier if they just admitted it to themselves and others. I think people should be more sex positive, I think people should just have more sex in general. It's good for you.
I totally agree. I think if more people were living their authentic sexuality, the world would be a better place.
Absolutely.
Okay, so we are sitting in the Erotic Realm confessional booth. I'm curious to hear, do you have a confession that you would like to make? A kinky confession, or perhaps a fantasy or a desire that you're hoping to explore today or tonight at the after party?
Ooh. I think an interesting kink that I've not seen terribly represented a lot is social demotion. The idea of that I've been having is serving dutifully as a head maid, prim, proper, an example to others. However, one critical mistake is all it takes, and suddenly the mood of my empress turns. Suddenly, persona non grata, taken, dragged, screaming and kicking to the dungeons, and having all of my honors, my duties, my personality stripped away from me and turned into this thing, just a gimp, a toy, something that should be disregarded and not even pitied, just used. An object less than furniture, with a single promise that if I am good, maybe I can return to my previous station. Maybe.
That's a juicy confession. Thank you. I love it. And I think we'll leave it there. Thank you for being part of the Erotic Realm confessional.
An absolute pleasure.
So welcome back to the Erotic Realm confessional. I have someone else here today who would like to confess. Who do I have?
You have seen.
Okay, so who are you in terms of your eroticism and your kinks? Let us know.
I am the oxymoron of a service brat. And I generally like to cause chaos for my doms, but then, help them out afterwards.
What's the oxymoron of a service brat mean?
I'm so glad you asked. It is a subtype of brat that's not commonly spoken about. I like to fuck around and find out. But, I do also like to help serve my doms in other ways afterwards. So helping them out, driving them to things, making them food is pretty much my love language, especially when they get knives involved. Good fun.
Okay, it sounds like you have a lot of varied kinks. What would you say is your biggest kink at the moment?
Currently, I'm exploring a lot of CNC primal style and absolutely loving it.
Did you say CNC primal style?
Yes.
Okay, can you explain what that means?
Yeah, so primal is fantastic in the way that you really get to let go. There's a lot of clawing. We're going to a private property and we're going to be doing a chase scene with bondage and knives. If you can't tell, I quite like them as well. As well as the CNC side of it's all pre-negotiated what I do and don't like, and also what he does and doesn't like as well. So, for example, he's not a fan of tickling, so I just make sure I don't do that.
So what is it about knives that you enjoy?
The temperature's definitely a part of it, but also the feeling of the scratching, and it does a very good job at shutting me up, because I tend to run my mouth a lot in scenes.
Did you say the temperature of the knife?
Yeah.
Okay.
So when you get really, when you get aroused, the genital tissue is really warm, and then the cold edge of the knife is a really nice juxtaposition. I'm not so much an expert on that as I am with brats and bratting in general. I have quite a few funny stories if you're interested.
Please, tell us.
So I would like to add a big caveat that bratting is, there is a difference between being an asshole and being a brat. And it is a very easy line to walk if you know what you're doing. So, for example, my dom and I had a fun little rule called don't throw socks. And I tested that motherfucker to the edge. I was juggling the socks. I was kicking the socks. Eventually, he had me with my hands like bound behind my back, and he managed to forget that I had socks on as he was on top of me, and I managed to use the little dogs to get them off, and I flicked it, and it landed on the back of his head. It was not the definition of throwing is to use your hands. I technically kicked the sock, but I have been far more punished for the breaking the spirit of the rule than I have breaking the rule.
So you mentioned that being a brat is different to being an asshole. What's the line between brat and asshole?
Consent.
Yeah, beautifully said. So it sounds like you've had a lot of fun experiences. I'm so curious to hear from you about a peak erotic experience that you've had.
Honestly, some of the best scenes I've had have come from banter. I personally am in the allied health field studying towards medicine, and I had a dom who was a nurse, and boy was he testing my anatomy skills, just making fun of breaking, beating me up consensually. And I was saying, oh no, not my osteocytes, and other fun little anatomical things that I think would be a bit too niche.
So he used his nursing knowledge against you to put you in a certain mode of being a bit fearful and submissive towards him.
In the best way possible.
Sounds like it. So what do you wish was more understood about your kinks? So, for example, you mentioned knives a few times. Maybe people have a strong reaction to that, or another kink that you have that you would like to describe a little bit more so people understand it if they don't?
I guess a really good one that I've found, rather than being a kink, is a bit of a personal thing that I found. There are quite a few people on the little scene, as, ABDL. And I found out the hard way that there is a massive difference between being a little and enjoying that stuff and just being a childish submissive.
You said you found out the hard way?
Yeah, I went to a few, it wasn't the hard way, it was fun with friends. I went to a few events, such as Littles After Dark, or I had some caregiver doms, and I'm just a whole lot more childish. I had a dom that was like, the Lego for big kids? They had it in a fabric bag, so I then put it on his head, and then offered him some water very nicely, as you do. And the fucker accused me of waterboarding him. I didn't actually. Obviously not pre-negotiated. But man, did I get beat for that. And apparently that's not little stuff. That's just being a little shit.
Okay, understood. So what brought you to Oz Kink Fest today? Is it your first time here? Do you have a particular idea of what you'd like to experience for the rest of today and tonight?
This is my third time, and I have absolutely loved it. The kink is basically my life, especially the community. It is all my friends, because we've just found our people. There's a lot of neurodiverse people. A lot of people have very in-depth understandings of trauma. There's very little judgment, because there's very little you can say or do that would shock people. And it's just been so accepting and gotten me through a lot of hard times. And yeah, also the fashion is elite.
Okay, so what is a kink that you're looking to explore in the near future? Something that you're looking forward to?
Is it too slutty to say I've tried them all?
Oh, really? So you know what you like and you do whatever you like again and again?
I have dedicated a lot of weekends to figuring out what I do and don't like. But hey, the process has been very fun.
So we are in the Erotic Realm Confessional booth. Do you have a kinky confession that you'd like to make while we're here?
I have been spanked with both with a Holy Bible, a book transcription of the Torah, and the DSM-5. And no, it did not beat the mental illness out of me. We tried.
I have never thought about being spanked by the DSM before. I absolutely love that with my background in psychology. That's amazing. Thank you for sharing your confessions, and thank you for being part of the Erotic Realm Confessional today.
Absolutely no worries. Thank you for having me. We're really good at this.
Thank you for listening to the Erotic Realm Confessional live from Oz Kink Fest. If you want to support future episodes of the Erotic Realm Confessional and help keep this project alive, become a paid subscriber over on my Psychology of Desire Substack, psychologyofdesire.substack.com. I'll put a link in the episode comments as well. This support will fund the gear, the travel, the editing, and the magic of the Erotic Realm Confessional. And if you'd like to bring the Erotic Realm Confessional to a festival in your city or your dungeon, your play party, or kinky gathering, simply reach out. I'd love to make it happen. You can grab me at emma@psychologyofdesire.com. Until next time, stay curious, stay embodied, and keep exploring. Also, as always, stay perverted.